What's going on YouTube? Today I wanted to go over the Marvel Spider-Man pre-release deck that I ended up building. Wanted to give you guys a rundown as to things that worked, things that didn't work, and kind of go over an analysis so that I can improve as a player. So here we go. So I'm going to move the lands out of the way for now, just so we can focus on the main cards. So the first card that we have that we wanted to talk a little bit about was Norman Osborn. Let's see if we can get it to focus. There we go. So Norman Osborn card was great early game. I was having a hard time using it in the later game. So Norman Osborn can't be blocked, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, he connives. Draw one, discard one, and then if you discarded a non-land, you put a +1/+1 on Norman Osborn. This card was great early game. It causes opponents to kind of have to figure out a way to deal with him really early. There was one game that I transformed him. Didn't really work out in my favor that matchup, so I would not say that this was the big all-star of the matchups that I had, but he was a big help during the matchups. Next one that I had, I actually pulled two of the Doc Ock Sinister Scientist. As long as there are 8 or more cards in your graveyard, Doc Ock has base power and toughness 8/8. As long as you control another villain, Doc Ock has hexproof. Great card. This ended up being the bomb that I went with. I wanted to kind of focus in on him and try to build up the graveyard a little bit more and try to overcome my opponents with an 8/8 hexproof. Another one that was really helpful to kind of pair up with Doc Ock was Flying Octobot. Flying, and then whenever a villain you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. This ability triggers only once each turn. The issue that I found with this one was I actually did not draw this during a single game that I had. Skyward Spider was the next big one. This card was really helpful mostly for the Ward 2. Also, when it is modified, it gains flying, and I'll kind of show you kind of the trick that I use later in the game. Beetle Legacy Criminal. This was a great card to pair up with anything that you needed to finish the game out with. So it has flying, and then for 1 and a blue, you can exile this card from the graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. This one was really great. I'm going to show you kind of the game-winning play that I ended up doing during one of my final matchups. Mechanical Mobster. This one was pretty good, mostly because I got to connive with it. If you haven't noticed yet, I ended up playing a blue-black villains, and that connive really helps out with adding those +1/+1 counters. I did splash in a little bit of the Mayhem, which you're going to see here. So Scarlet Spider Kane, not a villain, but it had menace, and then you can cast it for its mayhem cost, which I thought was super great with this one. You only had to pay 1 mana, 1 red or black mana for this one to cast it, as long as it was discarded the same turn that you mayhem it. So using any of the connive abilities to discard would have helped out with casting Scarlet Spider. Alien Symbiosis. This card was pretty good on board. The main reason I used it was you may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. So the nice thing about doing this was you can kind of recycle it back onto the board if you ever needed it. Swarm of Bees, Swarm Being of Bees. This one was another good one. My favorite part about it was it was flying, obviously, but the flash on it really helps whenever you're trying to time it out with the mayhem cost. So you could time it much later in your turn if you ended up discarding it, kind of surprising your opponent when your opponent thinks that you're not going to have any blockers. You can end up casting a 2/2 on board towards the end of the turn. Kind of getting a little bit into removal. So we had the Spots Portal. This one was great, especially because we had villains, so I didn't have to lose the 2 life, but you can just target one of your opponent's creatures and send it to the bottom of the library. You could do it on your own, but I never really had a reason to cast it on my own creatures. Merciless Enforcers. This one was a good one for early and late game. I found that early game that lifelink helps out a lot, especially when you just kind of swinging into an opponent who is not really casting anything. And then the 3 in the black, so this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. This really helped out a lot during the late game when your opponent has a lot less life. Then they have to figure out a way to remove this, and you don't really need to attack with it. Moorland, Devourer of Spiders. This one, really strong card. However, I found that most of the time when I was running into him was early game, and when you only have 3 mana, there's not really a good chance to remove anything or deal damage to any one creature or to one opponent. Actually, it's to one opponent, so mostly I was targeting the opponent to try to deal some damage, but really kind of didn't help out a lot early game, but late game, this thing was a beast. Another removal, Scorpion Sting. Helped out with just getting rid of anything that has is a little bit stronger, any 3/3 or 4/3 that you ran into. Ultimate Green Goblin. This card was it was great. The issue that I had with it was you kind of get lost in the sauce and you see, okay, so it's only 3 mana. It's a 5/4, great. And then you read this first ability at the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card, and then create a treasure token. Using a Mayhem deck, discarding probably isn't too bad, and creating treasure tokens helps, but the only issue was I ended up discarding my whole hand during my one of my first matchups, and I actually ended up losing that way because I didn't have anything that could answer my opponent's creatures that were making it to the board. So great card overall. You have to be very tactful when using it. Likely you'll want to use it a little bit later in the game instead of 3 mana in. Venomized Cat. So I didn't actually end up starting with Venomized Cat. Let me show you my sideboard. So I actually had Sun Spider Nimblewebber as the original card in this slot for this library. The only issue that I was finding with Nimblewebber was the only thing that I could look up was the Alien Symbiosis. So I ended up switching that out for Venomized Cat. Kind of looking at this later, since Doc Ock benefits from having 8 cards in the graveyard, I actually should have used the second Venomized Cat that I pulled, and I should have used this a lot sooner, mostly because it has Death Touch, and also because you mill 2 cards, so you can kind of go through your library and just kind of dump stuff out so that your Doc Ock can be an 8/8 creature. Common Crook, again, less of a player, but really helped out with that treasure token. I can kind of use Common Crook in an aggressive way in order to get my opponent to forcefully want to get rid of it, and then once they got rid of it, I just created that treasure token, which helped me out with any red mana that I needed. Sandman's Quicksand. So this one's a weird one because it has, you cast it for 1 and 2 black, or you, if you discarded it, you can cast it for its Mayhem, which is 3 and a black. Now, for me, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, so I cast it for 1 and 2 black. Might as well do that more often than 3 and a black, because, I mean, when do I really need this? Until you read its ability, and all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. If the spell's Mayhem cost was paid, creatures your opponent controls get -2/-2 until end of turn instead. So you actually get to save all your creatures if you use the Mayhem cost, which helped me out one game. I was able to pretty much do a board wipe with this one. But something that I wish I had read earlier, because I was holding on to this a lot, thinking, oh, should I cast it for the 1 and 2 black, or should I cast it for the Mayhem cost? And knowing this last sentence was on here, I probably should have casted it for the Mayhem cost a lot earlier. Mysterio's Phantasm. So this was a good early game card, Flying Vigilance. Then whenever this creature attacks, you mill a card. Again, helping out with the Doc Ock strategy. And the last spell that I had in here was Amazing Acrobatics. I did like this late game because it gave me the option of either countering a target spell or tap 1 or 2 target creatures. The only issue was the one time that I actually used the counter spell on this, my opponent had their own counter spell and ended up countering me. So, you know, good for them. All right, so now we're going to go over the lands that I had. So I ended up running 7 swamp, 8 island, and 1 mountain, and then the 1 ominous asylum. So just to kind of lay it out. So the nice thing about ominous asylum was it did give me that opportunity for that red or black mana. I didn't use the surveil cost once, I think. Thinking about it now, I guess I could have used it 1 or 2 times if I needed an extra card in the grave for Doc Ock. Again, there's the 1 mountain, the 7 swamps, and then the 8 islands. Okay, so I'm going to go over the 1 additional strategy that I ended up using in order to win a game or 2. So what we ended up having on board was the Skyward Spider. We had Doc Ock. We did have 8 creatures in the... actually, let me move these out of the way. We did end up having 2 creatures in the, or 8 creatures in the grave, and one of the great cards in this deck that I really liked was the Beetle Legacy Criminal. So one thing that Beetle Legacy Criminal does that I really liked was this exile effect. So 1 in a blue, exile this card from the graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So I ended up, because Skyward Spider actually gets flying whenever it is modified, it had a +1/+1 counter on it during this point in the match, but I ended up just exiling Beetle, and then ended up giving it to Doc Ock. I still had the 8 engraved, so it became a 9/9 flyer, and with a 9/9 flyer and a 3/3 flyer with Ward 2, the opponent kind of didn't have any answers to it, and it was interesting enough. This was the game that I actually only had islands on board, so I would say luck played a large part in that, but the strategy was really great. All right, so that's it for this episode of just kind of going over the pre-release cards that I had. Let me know what you think. If there's any strategies that I missed, we can talk about them a little bit more. One last thing. One thing that I kind of learned later, this was my sideboard, just so you can kind of get a glimpse of it. So the one thing that I think I would have changed was Venomized Cat. So I did pull a second one of these. I do kind of think that I should have used both for more milling. That was something that I had decided later after I had already tried out the Sun Spider Nimblewebber. But it is what it is. If I went back, I'd probably play the second Venomized Cat. Anyway, like I said, let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I can do to improve, or anything that you notice that I could have tried out too. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Tagging out.